Hey guys, this is Spencer again. Wanted to show you the LX F-16 Part 2. This is the second one I built for myself, and made in it today. Really happy with the way it flew. It tracks straighter, it flies faster than the last one, so pretty happy with that. Anyway, I was going to show you the a gear swing on here. I used a little different method. I'm not using the rubber bands between the main gear doors anymore. I'm using a piece of wire, actually, kind of like Lander uses now. And these little pieces of balsa are to keep the wheels from binding on the door before the wheels get all the way into the well. And as far as the nose gear, something similar. I had to re-glue this several times to get it in the right place, and even still it doesn't close it completely closed without the help of these magnets that I threw in there. So there's the other one down there. So that way it gets it close enough where the magnet takes over and closes it tight. So far so good, it's working. I don't know how ATX got his done, so if you're watching, maybe you can show me in video exactly how that works, because I still can't get my little pea brain wrapped around that. Anyhow, I'll swing the gear here. See if I can get this where you guys can see everything. So, pretty happy with the results this time. Everything's pretty tight. There's really nothing sticking out, and the door's closed nice. So, pretty clean aerodynamically, and it proved it today because it was probably 10-15 miles an hour faster than the last one. So I'm going to put the gear back down. Actually, you know what? Show you a couple other things. Gluing the wings on. I put masking tape along the seam and used epoxy this time with some filler in it instead of CA. I noticed on my last one that the glue joint was only about 50% of the surface area, so I'm sure that there's a lot of compromised strength there from the not good surface area. Another thing is I got really tired of bonking the front of my radome, so this time I used a couple magnets, and it doesn't get bonked in the car, it doesn't get bonked at the field, and if you bang into it, the nose pops off instead of breaking everything. So that was another improvement. Let's see, where else did we change some things? Put this piece of carbon in here as a skid, so if you go up on a wingtip, first of all, this won't snap, and it won't even damage the foam because now you got a skid there. And I also added a little piece of carbon right here, so when you land with a high alpha, it doesn't totally wreck the bottom of your nozzle like my last one got a flat top by the time I was done with it. Piece of carbon sunk in there, kind of stiffened that whole taileron swivel area, since I only have tailerons, and by the way, it flies fantastic without the ailerons. They're just glued. I just put glue in the hinges, so they're rigid enough. But anyhow, since I only have tailerons, the last thing I need is for one of those to come off in flight. It'd be a bad day. If you look here, I've put some static wicks. This is actually just the smallest heat shrink I could find, and then I just shrunk it down, jammed a Q-tip in to make a hole, and then just CA'd these in. Again, if you bonk them, it doesn't hurt the foam and it doesn't break off. A buddy of mine used some carbon, which looked equally good, but if you cut something on the car or whatever, now you're ripping foam out, and it's kind of a disaster. What else? The ventral fins got shortened quite a bit, so now when you set the airplane on its ass, that carbon skid just touches and the fins just miss the ground, so there's no more scraping, losing ventral fins, banging them into the ground. Added a pilot. Some of you guys will recognize him. He's out of a T-28 Trojan Park Zone, and I just cut him down and stuck him in there. He only weighs like a gram, so he didn't add any weight. Painted the intake in the mold, so it's all white, looks pretty nice. And what else did I change? Let's see here. You know, my water transfer decals really didn't stick all that well this time. I had a couple of them pop off, so I just used a little glue stick actually, and had to be really delicate with them and glue sticked them back on, and now they're stuck pretty good. Oh, that was it. Last thing I'm going to show you is the anhedral, or the opposite of dihedral, in the tail. So notice the angular difference between the wing and the tail. That's the scale location somewhat. In fact, here's my turbine one that's currently in the process of getting new landing gear and a refurbished job. Just had this sent to me. This is the beginning stages of scale gear that are being sent to me from Matrix Engineering. So once I get this thing going, then I'm going to be pretty ecstatic. But if I straighten the tail out on this one, see if I can get a good shot straight on. Now these are scale. You'll notice that the tail is definitely has some more anhedral even than I put into the foam one as the real thing. Here's an idea what the cockpit looks like. So anyhow, a couple months and I'll have this thing up and running again. It just needs a new paint job. It's going to get scale landing gear. I'm going to add some detail, some rivets, and get that going. I'll give you a quick tour of some of the foamies I have. Kind of got a pile of them. So they're all hanging on the wall. I fly most of these out front. There's an LXB2 up there. That's the second one I've had. The first one I built for a guy, and I need to get that one put back together. And the dog. So anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions, but get that video up and running ATX so I can see how you do it. See ya.